Aloha and welcome to the University of Hawaii West Oahu's Research and Writing Series. This four-part series is a partnership between the library and the No'eau Center. This particular episode is an addendum to the core series, those main 4 episodes. My name is Karina and I'm a public services librarian serving primarily the social sciences and education divisions. Elsewhere in this series, you will meet Robin, who is the director of the No'eau Center, which is the learning center at UH West Oahu. We're excited for you to be part of this workshop series. We've partnered together to help empower you through the research and writing process. The videos in this series are accompanied by quizzes. If you're completing any of the episodes for credit in a course, please complete the quiz questions after you watch the video or as we direct you to certain questions throughout the video. Here you can see how we've broken down the research and writing process. In the core part of the series, you learned how to identify a topic, dive into research, structure a draft, and incorporate citations. This is a bonus episode where you'll be layering on supplemental areas of understanding that can enhance your process. So think of this as your Research Plus toolkit. In this bonus episode, we're discussing 4 topics that are related to the research and writing process in unique ways. Incorporating AI into your research and writing process, considering Indigenous knowledge, when applicable, as a resource, taking effective notes, and reading deeply. So with that, let's get started. Let's start by exploring the recent explosion of artificial intelligence into our online environments and our personal ways of approaching research and writing. Artificial intelligence, or AI tools like ChatGPT and other generative technologies, are changing the way that people interact with, create, and evaluate information. These AI tools can be used to brainstorm ideas and topics, summarize sources, generate citations, and more. But they also raise very important and valid questions about accuracy, transparency, authorship, and ethical use. Understanding the role of AI in today's information environment is essential for becoming a thoughtful, informed researcher. But it's imperative to remember that while it can be a helpful tool, it should never be a replacement for your voice or your mind. Listed are some of the ways that AI tools can be used to help you with research and writing. While AI can be very exciting and useful, it's important to keep in mind that it is not infallible. So be sure to do the following to avoid being fooled by AI tools. Always verify and fact-check AI-generated content against trusted sources. AI can produce heavily biased or dated information and even create fictional content, like citing books that do not exist or asserting something unproven as a fact. Because of this, use your critical thinking and a source evaluation system like CRAP or SIF to determine the authenticity of the information. It's also important to protect privacy of any data available to you, whether it pertains to you or others you know. Never input sensitive or proprietary data into AI prompts. You should also check with your instructor beforehand about whether it is acceptable for you to use AI in any part of your research and writing process. If it is permitted, are there any guidelines your instructor requires you to follow? Relatedly, you'll want to document your process by saving prompts and conversations for transparency. Also be sure to disclose AI use in your methodology or acknowledgements as appropriate. If in doubt, err on the side of caution and avoid using the AI tool. The Research and Writing Guide, available via the library, has a page about artificial intelligence. Included here are directions on how to locate that page, as well as a short URL. We recommend that you pause the video here to complete questions 1 through 4 on the quiz for this episode. Next, let's turn to our second topic. Indigenous knowledge refers to the complex, place-based understandings and practices developed by Native and local communities over many generations. It is often rooted in and informed by oral traditions, cultural protocols, relationships with the Aina, community values, and lived experiences. Western paradigms of education typically emphasize written texts, standardized methods, and peer-reviewed sources. Indigenous knowledge is holistic, relational, and frequently transmitted through storytelling, observation, ceremony, and hands-on learning. While Western academic systems have historically devalued such knowledge, there is growing recognition that multiple ways of knowing can and should coexist to enrich research, learning, and decision-making. Recognizing the value of Indigenous knowledge and respecting its origins is an essential aspect of conducting inclusive and ethical research. With that in mind, when approaching research that involves Indigenous knowledge, researchers should think critically about how the information is shared, who holds it, and how to engage with it responsibly. Suggested approaches include engaging with community voices directly whenever possible, using sources created by and for Indigenous communities, like local organizations, oral histories, or community publications. Being respectful of sacred knowledge, which may not be appropriate to share or cite publicly. And avoiding extractive approaches, and looking for ways to give back to the community and/or honor the source of knowledge. If you are not sure how to approach Indigenous knowledge in relation to your research project, talk to your instructor. The Research and Writing Guide, available via the library, has a page about Indigenous knowledge. Included here are directions on how to locate that page, as well as a short URL. We recommend that you pause the video here to complete questions 5 through 6 on the quiz for this episode. Next up is note-taking. Note-taking transforms the information you encounter, whether through reading, classroom lectures, and so on, into insights that you can revisit and build on. It is an important skill that allows learners to recall, retain, and understand concepts, ideas, and information related to their studies. Learning how to take notes that are helpful takes some time and effort. Be concise and selective with the information you record in your notes. Ensuring that you only jot down essential details will allow you to save time and have access to key information for future reference. Some helpful strategies for better note-taking include paraphrasing, summarizing, shortening words, and using symbols and acronyms. One note-taking approach listed on the previous slide was mind maps. As you can see, you can use mind maps to organize information around a central concept or idea. In this case, marketing strategies. Note-taking is your personal roadmap of complex ideas, helping you to remember key concepts, spot connections between your information sources, and kickstart your writing projects. Using a few extra minutes to organize and review your notes now will save you hours later and deepen your understanding of each topic you explore. Here are some tools you can use to help with digital note-taking. Be aware, though, that there is also a lot of value in note-taking by hand. Some studies have found that handwriting notes helps with memory and recall. So if you opt to use a regular notebook and a variety of colored pens and sticky notes, that's perfectly fine. It may be helpful to try out different strategies to see which works best for you. The Research and Writing Guide, available via the library, has a page about note-taking. Included here are directions on how to locate that page, as well as a short URL. We recommend that you pause the video here to complete questions 7 through 8 on the quiz for this episode. And here is our last topic for this episode, effective reading. Reading can feel overwhelming at times. With our digital environments causing hyperconnectivity that directly impacts our attention span, some people prefer to avoid information sources that require extensive reading. But reading is an imperative skill for you to hone. And when reading, it is important that you take your time to think carefully about what you just read. As you research your topic, you might consider asking yourself the following questions after reading each source. It can be helpful to write out the answers to these questions too. These can help you work towards summaries, annotated bibliographies, and other documents that can help you with your draft. What did you just read or learn about the topic? Does that change what you think about the topic, or does it add new depth to certain positions you hold? What was the main point of the story or report or research? And can you identify any major themes or connections? Listed here are key strategies when reading from the two major sources of information for research projects at the college level: scholarly articles and books. Make note of the differences, which are indicative of the typical structure and length of each format. The Research and Writing Guide, available via the library, has a page about reading strategies. Included here are directions on how to locate that page, as well as a short URL. We recommend that you pause the video here to complete the remaining questions on the quiz for this episode. From all of us on the Raw Skills team, mahalo for completing the bonus episode of the series. We hope you feel newly empowered to conquer research and that you learned new skills and strategies. Be sure to visit our guide on the research and writing process for more information, and mahalo for watching.